Convicted sex offender arrested after caught back behind the wheel. Residents sound off of poor conditions of golf courses in the villages. Villager ordered to stay away from booze after attacking an ambulance driver. The victim of a hit and run on U.S. Highway 301 was a former reporter for the Orlando Sentinel. Plenty of tension between walkers and golf carts on multimodal paths. Villager arrested on a DUI charge tells cops he just wants to go home. Villager allegedly threatens gal pal over a man she met in a karate class. Deputies arrest suspect with marijuana in a van tied to a New York church. Villager arrested after allegedly creating a nightmare for her neighbors. Villager documents pocket gopher attack on executive golf course. Unlicensed drivers from Mexico and Venezuela arrested again. A new gate has become a busy entry point for the villages. How many holes in ones of golf did we get this week? Letters to the editor. This and more coming up. This week's news is brought to you by my YouTube and Patreon members. Let's have some more news. A convicted sex offender, who is also a habitual traffic offender, was arrested after he was caught back behind the wheel of a car. Jeffrey Santiago, 54 of Ocklawaha, was held without bond this weekend at the Marion County Jail following his arrest on charges of violation of his habitual offender status and driving an unregistered motor vehicle. He was taken into custody early Sunday morning. Santiago was convicted in 2013 in Duval County of lewd and lascivious molestation of a victim between ages 12 and 15, for which he has ultimately spent time in prison. He was sent back to prison in 2021 on a Marion County felony charge of driving while license suspended. He was released from prison on April 2, 2023. His criminal record also includes multiple charges of forgery. And away he goes. Residents are sounding off about the poor conditions of golf courses in the villages. The villagers' reaction to the poor conditions of the Tarpon Boyle Executive Golf Course promoted an outpouring of similar observations by fellow residents. The greens at Tarpon Boyle, Bacall, and Pimlico are all in the same disgraceful conditions as reported in your article. There's no grass on these so-called greens. I have never seen such poor conditions on the courses as this year, said villager Mary Martin. Tim Beecroft pointed to other examples of poor conditions across the villages. Just to add fuel to the fire to the article regarding Tarpon Boyle Executive Golf Course, the course across the street, Redfish Run, I liked Redfish Run, and the course up the street, Bonita Pass, I didn't care for Bonita Pass, are as bad if not worse than Tarpon Boyle. Whoever's in charge of maintaining those courses should be fired. Those courses should have been closed weeks ago in order to try to save the greens. They literally are unplayable. It is truly a sad situation on all three courses. You know, these courses do get in bad shape this time of year, and it's not the snowbirds' fault. It's the fact that they're overplayed. So when the snowbirds come down and the population swells, the courses are getting played twice as much with traffic of golf carts, the footprint on the greens, the divots when you hit a ball and you take a piece out of the ground. They don't fix them. A lot of people just don't do anything. They try to keep the golf cart traffic down. They want 2 people per cart. So if you got to force them going out, that should be 2 carts to go out. But oh no, everybody wants to take their own cart. for whatever the reasons are. And next thing you know, you got 4 carts out there. Well, if you take that over a period of a winter season, most grass down here does not grow much in the winter. Grass goes dormant. This is what happens. But I will agree. We've hired and we pay millions of dollars a year for an outside company, several companies, that villages contracts to take care of these problems. And if they're not taking care of the problems, then either they don't know what they're doing, or it could be the problem is that maybe the villages need to start building more executive golf courses so that the population can spread out. Just a thought. Dwight Johnson of the Village of Mallory Square suspects that the high rates at the championship courses in the villages are driving more golfers to the executive courses. Could. Interesting thought. I never thought of that. And that's the reason Tupper Boyle is still open. It needs to be closed. Yes, when they get that bad, grass has to rest. You have to leave it alone. No traffic on it whatsoever. And so they need to close these things down and let them rest. Villager William Grady said he's embarrassed to take his guests to the executive courses in the villages. I take them off premises and pay just a few more dollars to play on way much better courses. And that's probably true because the courses outside the villages don't get played near as much as the ones inside the villages. So they don't get the foot traffic and they don't get the golf cart traffic. My wife and I have been here 7 years, and what started out as an excellent decision to move to the villages is leading us to make a decision of moving out of the villages. You have sold way too many houses, lining your pockets with money, and not enough golf courses built to cover the people you are moving into the villages when the snowbirds are here. A villager who has been ordered to stay away from booze and to enroll in anger management after an attack last year on an ambulance staffer. Kathleen Sillick, 69, of the village of El Cortez, has been allowed to enter into a pretrial intervention contract that will enable her to avoid prosecution on a charge of battery on an emergency care provider. She must complete 12 hours of anger management training, undergo an alcohol evaluation, and may not consume or possess alcohol. The village's public safety department had been called July 22 to a home in the village of El Cortez. While the crew was treating a man deemed a critical patient, Sillick began interfering with the crew's work. You guys have been following the news with me for a while. You probably recognize the picture and you recognize the story. I'm giving you an update of what's happening here. Silly kept trying to gain entry to the ambulance through the side door, but a crew member kept shutting the door. She struck the crew member in the back with what felt like a heavy, closed hand. The ambulance crew member ordered Sillick, "Don't touch me again." She continued to walk toward him in an angry manner while pointing her finger at him. The ambulance took the patient to Health, the village's hospital, and the police were contacted about the incident. Officers went to Sillick's home at 720 Cortez Avenue and arrested the New York native. The victim of a hit-and-run crash on US 301 was a former reporter for the Orlando Centennial. Mike Berry, 63, of Lake Mary, died after being hit by a vehicle on US 301 south of County Road 102 near Brown and Brown Farms and Country Store. 301 goes right by the villages. Actually, it's almost like the edge of the villages. It goes by DeLuna, and it'll take you on down by Finney area. Berry's body was found at 8 a.m. Saturday, and the Florida Highway Patrol believes the accident occurred sometime overnight on Friday. Florida Highway troopers are asking for the public's help in the search of a 1992 to 1997 Ford Bronco or F-Series pickup truck that is missing its left front headlight housing. Anyone with information of this incident is asked to call Florida Highway Patrol. Berry was a native of Brazil. Most recently, he had been working for Lake Mary Life magazine. He studied journalism at the University of Memphis. Once again, people, be careful down here in the wintertime. Residents of the villages are worried about the tension between walkers and golf carts on the multimodal path. I like the way they changed the golf cart paths to multimodal because they don't want to enforce anything. So by making a multimodal means that anybody can do anything on a golf cart path. That's what they really are, and there's nobody to enforce it. Villagers went to the podium Tuesday afternoon to discuss their concerns before the multimodal path discussion group at Savannah Center. The group is made up of elected officials from throughout Florida's friendliest hometown. Residents described golf carts which are speeding and exhibiting a king of the road superiority over walkers and bicyclists. Penny Levisk of the village of Piedmont was walking on a multimodal path when she was struck by a golf cart. She was bruised and battered, but did not suffer any broken bones. She was shocked that the golf cart had hit her, kept going, and the lack of concern of other golf cart drivers that passed her by. That's a bit rude. If somebody got hit and I seen it and you were laying on the ground, I'm stopping. Villager Jim Shield is an avid walker who logged hundreds of miles last year. I am convinced the golf cart operators don't see it as a pedestrian path. Truthfully, it's not. Years ago when I started the villages, these were the way that golf carts traveled the villages without the need of a car. That's what made the villages so popular. They had signs everywhere advertising the villages, a golf cart community. The bottom line is we have to take responsibility for ourselves. Village of Palo Alto resident Ken Noto pointed to the problem of speeding on the multimodal paths. He said he is frustrated that law enforcement does not have the authority to write speeding tickets on a multimodal path. He suggests it's time that the villages uses political clout with the legislature to change the law so law enforcement can regulate speed on the multimodal path. I don't want to see that because the multimodal path in most cases is private property. Sonia Wood is a new resident of the village of Dabney in the Community Development District 14, which is located in the Leesburg area of the villages. She said she is also concerned about speeding golf carts. You know, people are always using that word speeding golf carts, but they don't know how fast them golf carts are going. They just think they know because that looks like he's going too fast. Well, that's not evidence of anybody speeding. District Manager Kenneth Blocker said, common courtesy could go a long way of improving safety on the multimodal path. Yes, common courtesy and common sense. I don't know what's happened to this world. Even with these older people, well, Dabney's generally speaking not older people. They're the younger retirement group. But common sense is like something we've lost in this country. If you're walking down a dark street and you have dark clothes on, what's the matter with you? You have to assume that they're being distracted. And if you're going to walk at night when it's dark out or even dusk out, do you have reflective clothing on? Do you have lights that blink and flash? I'm telling you, you cannot put enough blinking lights and things on you at night to walk around the villages or anywhere else for that matter to make sure that they see you. A villager arrested on a drunk driving charge told police officers he just wanted to go home. Michael Patrick Gilbrook, 63 of the village of La Zamora, was driving a white Ford pickup at about 9 p.m. February 15th on U.S. Highway 27-441 when he was pulled over after traveling 68 miles per hour in a 45 miles per hour zone. It appeared Gilbrook had been drinking, and the Philadelphia, PA native initially indicated he would not participate in field sobriety exercises. He became increasingly agitated and said he just wanted to go home. Eventually, he agreed to take part in the exercises, but his poor performance led officers to conclude he had been driving impaired. He provided breath samples that registered .158 and .145 blood alcohol content. He was booked at the Lake County Jail on a charge of driving under the influence. He was released after posting a $1,000 bond. An unlicensed driver from California was arrested after he was caught operating a vehicle without headlights. Edwin Lopez, 27, of Fresno, California, was driving a gray Toyota Camry at 7:41 p.m. Monday on U.S. Highway 27 and 441 when an officer noticed the vehicle's headlights and taillights were not activated. Lopez was identified by his California identification card but did not possess a driver's license. He was arrested on a charge of driving without a license. He was booked at the Lake County Jail and released after posting a $500 bond. He was also issued a written warning for driving without headlights. I'm sure if I got caught doing this, I'd receive the same treatment as an American citizen. A jealous villager was arrested after he allegedly threatened his gal pal over a man she met in a karate class. Joseph Paul Aielli, 53, smashed the woman's cell phone and laptop computer during the altercation, which occurred Sunday at his home on Jennifer Drive in the village of Silver Lake. Aielli reportedly called the woman's karate classmate and threatened to beat him up. Aielli apparently suspected the man was having an affair with his girlfriend. Aielli, who stands 6 feet 2 inches tall and weighs 290 pounds, began to yell profanities at his girlfriend, with whom he has been living with for 2 years. She attempted to dial 911, but he took her phone away and smashed it on the kitchen counter. He also seized her Dell laptop and smashed it all over the end table, causing the screen to break. The Maryland native picked up a marble rolling bin and then threatened to bash it against her head. The girlfriend began screaming to try to get the attention of neighbors. The woman was attempting to leave when police arrived at the home. Officers learned that Ayala had previously been arrested in Maryland on a charge of battery in 1992 and a charge of assault in 2002. Ayala was arrested on charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, criminal mischief, and deprivation of 911. He was booked at the Lake County Jail and released after posting an $8,500 bond. Girl, get out. Deputies arrested a suspect with marijuana in a van tied to a church in New York. Ken Archer, 52, who was born in Guyana, I should sound familiar to a lot of you guys, Guyana, Jim Jones, and now lists a Jamaica, New York address, was driving the Blue Econoline van with an expired New Hampshire license plate when he was pulled over at 9:47 a.m. Saturday at State Road 44 and Interstate 75, according to a arrest report. The traffic stop was initiated because it was raining and the van's headlights was not illuminated. When a deputy approached the van, the odor of marijuana was detected. Archer was identified by his New York ID card. Archer was found to be in possession of a marijuana cigarette, which was found in his pocket. A search of the van turned up a bag containing 38.9 grams of marijuana. A grinder, scales, and drug paraphernalia were also found in the van. Archer was arrested on a felony charge of marijuana possession, as well as charges of failure to register a motor vehicle and possession of drug equipment. He was issued a warning for failure to use the headlights in the rain. As he was being taken to Sumter County Detention Center, he damaged the seats in a patrol car in which he was being transported. An additional charge of damage to property was added. He was booked at the jail on a $5,500 bond. The van was towed from the scene of the arrest report. Thanks, New York. Deputies has apprehended a suspect skip scanner at the Walmart store in the Villages. Austin Allen Ford, 25, of Lady Lake, was driving a black 2000 GMC when he was pulled over Monday near Trailwinds Village in Wildwood. During the traffic stop, it was determined that Ford was wanted in connection with a January 25 theft case in Walmart at Sarasota Plaza. Ford and a second person had entered the store that day and took merchandise to the self-checkout aisle. They used a technique known as skip scanning, in which a lower-priced item is scanned rather than a higher-priced item. Oh yeah, they don't know about that little trick, do they, Austin? Duh. The stolen merchandise totaled $81.28 and included smoked sausages, seasoned fries, and toilet paper. The sheriff's office had posted information about the crime on its Facebook page, leading to several tips from the public. Surveillance images helped confirm that Ford was the suspect. Ford's black GMC was also caught on store surveillance. He was arrested on a charge of theft and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and was released after posting a $150 bond. That bond seems kind of cheap. A 77-year-old villager has been arrested on a charge of stalking after allegedly creating a nightmare for her neighbors. Souza Barr of the village of Santo Domingo was arrested Wednesday by Sumter County Sheriff's deputies after an investigation into her activities. Neighbors said they began to be terrorized by Barr after she adopted an aggressive pit bull mix and let her dog run loose in a neighborhood. The pit bull chased people and bit a neighbor's dog. Barr's fixation appeared to be on a particular husband and wife in the neighborhood. Barr would walk her dog in their backyard and disturb their cats, which were usually in the fully glassed floor room of the couple's home. Barr kept returning to the people's home using foul language toward them as well as their landscapers. The couple had a trespass warning issued on October 30th. However, the harassment did not end. Barr allegedly called law enforcement when the couple had a tree removed from their own property, even though they had followed all the proper procedures. St. Louis native's pit bull was seized by animal control in December, and after the dog was taken away, Barr began shining her vehicle's headlights into her neighbor's home and honking her horn when driving by their house. The neighbor said Barr honked the horn because she knew it made their dog nervous, prompting it to bark. Barr went to the local pharmacy where the wife works and filed 2 false complaints against her in an attempt to get her employment terminated. Barr went to the pharmacy this past Sunday afternoon, even though she did not need to have prescriptions filled. She began to yell and harass employees at the pharmacy. She was asked to leave. The exchange was captured on video and surveillance. Barr also reportedly attempted to get her husband fired from his job. The couple installed a surveillance system in their home because they were so alarmed by Barr's behavior. They told deputies they have placed their home for sale and they cannot continue to live in a continuous emotional distress and fear anymore. Barr purchased a home in 2018 on Cordero Court in 2016 for $232,000. In November, Barr wrote a letter to the editor about Community Development District 2's decision to abandon the anonymous complaint system. Following her arrest, Barr was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center, where she was initially held without bond. On Thursday, her bond was set at $5,000. She posted the bond and was released at 3:26 p.m. Thursday. Sounds like a nut. A villager was arrested during a search for a drunk pedestrian on Wednesday in the villages of Amelia. A deputy was taking part in the search for the drunk pedestrian at about 9:30 p.m. when he happened upon 57-year-old Paul David Stone of the Audrey Villas in the area of Allenwood Loop in Odell Circle, according to the arrest report. The deputy ran Stone's name through the computer check and found he was wanted on a warrant charging him with violating his probation on a charge of trespassing. Stone had been placed on probation following a disturbance last year at the laundromat in La Plaza Grande in Spanish Springs area of the villages.
A New York native
was arrested on a violation of probation warrant and booked without bond at the Sumter County Detention Center. A villager has documented an attack by pocket gophers on an executive golf course near his home. The photos of the pocket gophers' activities were provided to villagesnews.com as numerous residents wrote in to rebuke the statement from the Executive Golf Division that El Nino was to blame for poor course conditions. Michael Scotto of the village of Chatham described the pocket gopher attack at the Amberwood Executive Golf Course. Amberwood's way up north. It's almost by Nancy Lopez Country Club up there. It's a nice area. I played golf up there many times. Pocket gophers are 10 to 12 inches long from nose to tip of tail. They are capable of digging tunnel systems that may exceed 500 feet or more, according to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. As they dig, they push piles of loose dirt to the surface, characteristics that has earned them the name sandy mounders or salamanders. Shallow tunnels generally run parallel to the surface, provide access to their diet of roots and tubers, while nest and food storage tunnels are deeper. Meanwhile, residents are mocking the assertion that the executive courses in the villages have been strained by the wet weather produced by El Nino weather pattern. I read where the golf officials blame El Nino for the poor conditions of the greens in the villages. May I suggest these officials visit the courses outside the villages? Check the Continental, Eagle Ridge, and others. Continental in particular has beautiful greens, said Daniel Whitney of the village of Collier. Ed Robinson played the Bogart Executive Golf Course on Friday morning and described the greens as atrocious. He isn't buying into the El Nino explanation. Well, I don't either. Yes, we've had some unusual weather this fall and winter, but there are courses around the area where the greens are in good shape. Either the owners don't give a damn or the greens keeper needs some tutoring. Rather than accepting the El Nino explanation from golf officials, villagers are pointing the finger of blame at the overuse of the courses, particularly during snowbird season. That's where I think most of the problem is. I am not an expert in golf maintenance. However, even ordinary golfers can attest to the unacceptability conditions on some of the courses, said villager Diane Gray. She said golf is one of the main reasons she chose the villages, which promoted its golf for all culture. I agree with that. I know that even when the villages was a lot smaller than it is now, golf greens and the golf courses in the wintertime was a struggle, even back then, when it was less than half the population than it is now. Villager Kathy Joseph pointed to the terrible conditions at the Tarpon Boyle Executive Golf Course and said that others are in desperate need of a rest. I think I've read enough news about the bad golf courses. You guys get the idea, right? A villager landed in jail after a night of drinking and bowling. Thomas Ralph Mikowski, 73, of the village of Charlotte, was found at about 11:30 p.m. Thursday, passed out behind the wheel of a white 2019 Toyota Highlander SUV, which was parked on the sidewalk near the intersection of Morse Boulevard and State Road 44. On the sidewalk! This is probably the same guy that wants to park his golf cart up on the sidewalk next to a grocery store. The vehicle was in drive and the engine was running. A half-empty bottle of Gilby's vodka was found in the SUV. Mikowski said he had been bowling at Fiesta Bowl in the Spanish Springs area. He said he drank 3 rum and coke cocktails while bowling. The Milwaukee native agreed to participate in field sobriety exercises, but a deputy had to catch him several times when he nearly fell over. Mikowski provided breath samples that registered .150 and .143 blood alcohol content. A criminal history check revealed Mikowski has been convicted of driving under the influence in Wisconsin in 1993 and 2007. He was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $1,000 bond. Hey, look, I got nothing against having a drink when you're playing bowling, having a drink when you're visiting your neighbors, having a drink when you're out eating dinner. I have none of that. I do it, but be smart enough that when you leave, if your wife doesn't drink or you're with somebody that hasn't drank, hand him the key. It's just that simple. An unlicensed driver from Venezuela was arrested in a vehicle with an expired registration. Jonathan Jesus Parra, 28, was driving a white Ford Fusion at about 6 p.m. Thursday on US 301 in Coleman when he was pulled over for a registration which had expired on February 3. Highway 301, a Venezuelan in an unregistered vehicle, and there was a guy from Brazil walking on 301 that died from a hit and run. I'm just pointing this out. During a traffic stop, the native of Venezuela admitted he had been living in Ocala for 2 years and said he had been working on getting his documents to obtain a valid license, according to the arrest report. He was arrested on a charge of operating a vehicle without a valid driver's license. He was booked at Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a measly $150 bond. It's almost laughable. Problems in a brand new area already, or it could be problems. A new gate has become a busy entry point for the villages. The gate attendant at the village of Lake Denham has a very busy job these days as more and more traffic is pouring in off of County Road 470 and onto Megason Road. Many motorists have found it easier to exit the Florida Turnpike and gain access to the villages through the gate at the village of Lake Denham, which is located in the Leesburg section of the villages, which is located in Lake County. The greater flow of traffic on Megason Road has been a concern for residents of the village of Citrus Grove and the village of Cason Hammock. Residents are concerned about golf carts and pedestrian traffic intermingling with automobiles in the busy Sawgrass Grove area. Residents have long predicted that the greater influx of traffic from County Road 470 will only exacerbate traffic problems in the area. Those residents have taken their concern before the Sumter County Commission and Community Development District 13. Sumter County Commission. It's laughable. Work is scheduled to begin on the Burns Recreation Center tennis courts on Monday, February 26. They are expected to remain closed through mid-March. It is part of a more than $1 million project to fix drainage problems at the courts at Burns, as well as Rohan Recreation Center and the Eisenhower Recreation Center. The drainage repairs are being funded by amenity money overseen by the project-wide advisory committee. In 2022, it was discovered that excessive high groundwater under the Burns Recreation Center tennis courts and the Rohan Recreation Center tennis, platform tennis, and pickleball courts were causing erosion and cracking of the asphalt courts. The engineer's opinion of probable construction costs for the Burns tennis court was $241,200, and the engineer's opinion of probable construction costs for the Rohan sports courts, the installation of the new under-drain system will be connected to the existing drainage system with the purpose of improving the overall drainage conditions. In July 2023, a subsequent issue was discovered at the Eisenhower Recreation Center platform tennis courts where there was a significant cracking of the asphalt court surface. The engineer's opinion of probable construction costs for the Eisenhower platform tennis courts rehabilitation was in excess of $300,000. The Eisenhower platform tennis courts remain closed. I tried to report a lot of this stuff back when they were building these things because I knew a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. I got a lot of criticism from the viewers talking about always pointing out the bad things. I did 2 videos, I think, about the new golf cart trails that lead from Brownwood down to Finney. And I pointed out and showed on video the improper installation of that golf cart trail. Now, that doesn't include every golf cart trail down there. I was specifically showing you the one from Brownwood that takes you down to the Finney area. They're not installed correctly. And I said, if we don't hold the developer's feet to the fire and make him pay, or make the contractor who put it in pay to do it correctly, the day's coming. The residents here that want to have fun and, quit complaining and, don't show this stuff, we're going to pay. And here it is. This stuff wasn't installed correctly. Now it's popping up, and guess who's going to put the bill? Right here. Residents. Over $1 million. They say $1 million. No, it'll be over $1 million out of our pockets to pay for this stuff that wasn't installed correctly. Just like the in Brownwood, the windmill wasn't installed correctly. Guess who paid for that? We did. An unlicensed driver from Mexico who admitted he has been in the United States for 5 years also confessed that he was aware he needed a driver's license to drive. A bilingual deputy was called to the scene and assisted in a translation. Hernandez admitted he does not have a driver's license and he was aware he needed one to operate a motor vehicle. He said he has been in the United States for approximately 5 years. He was arrested on a charge of driving without a license. He was issued a warning for the inoperable tag light. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a laughable $150 bond. Was the car towed in? Did he have to pay for a towing? What happened there? Okay, let's see how many holes in one we got this week in the villages. Looks like one. The Gopher has scored his, let's count them, 19th lifetime hole-in-one and his 9th lucky ace since moving to the villages. John Roudabush got his hole-in-one on January 28th at hole number 8 at the Lowlands Executive Golf Course. It was his 19th lifetime hole-in-one and his 9th since moving to the villages in 2017. I love playing our executive courses, the village of Finney resident said. Well, John, congratulations on your 19th hole-in-one. That's remarkable. You should start playing the lottery. Let's do a couple letters to the editors real quick. To the editor, I have been a full-time resident of Villages for almost 10 years and love my life here. During my entire Villages experience, I have participated in organized Texas Hold'em tournaments, played at numerous recreation centers throughout the Villages. These games are legal, conducted professionally by the volunteers running them, and my most enjoyable activity, and it is for many other villagers. Some games have recently been eliminated by specific Villages management personnel, and other games are under threat of elimination due to the bias of one village's manager. Having spent my entire career in law enforcement and investigating corporate crimes, I respectfully request to village's management that the poker games eliminated be restored and to allow the other games to continue. That's sent in by Craig Fink from the village of Hadley. I don't know what's going on there. If it's legal and everybody's enjoying it, why would they stop it? To the editor, there are many of us who are handicapped and cannot enjoy many of the physical games like golf, pickleball, etc. So I believe poker in villages should be allowed to continue. That's sent in by Art Corey from the Hammock at Finney. Well, thanks for sending that in, Art. Like I said, I don't know what's going on there. If it's legal and it's in a rec center, it's not, bothering anybody, I don't understand why they would be doing away with it. There must be some kind of a legal issue going on there. I do know that they're shutting down these internet cafes one by one. I don't know. I got no words for you. I think that's going to be the news this week. I appreciate you guys for joining my Patreon membership. And you can join there for as little as $2 a month, and you'll get a lot of things there that you don't see here. It's all commercial free, so you don't have to deal with that. With that, you'll also get a free link to go to my 24-hour, 7-day-a-week Discord. For you and other members of my channel can go there and talk all you want about anything you want. Sue and I get on there. Matter of fact, she's been sharing her different recipes on the Discord. So if you want to get her chicken noodle recipe or the Cherries Jubilee everybody seems to ask about, you have to go to Patreon, become a $2 member, and you'll get a free link to Discord. You sign up for that. You get on there. You'll catch Sue on there, and you can ask for that, and she'll be glad to send that to you. Weather here has been really good this week. It's been in the mid-70s, sunny. So until the next port setting, where Sue and I will see you, stay warm, be good, stay safe.
And don't leave your keys in the golf cart.